Hello, my name is Rene Salgado, President of EmpreSomos, a nonprofit devoted to fostering entrepreneurship development in Central America. You can find us at empresomos.org. Welcome to this webcast, which is part of our EmpreSomos Central America Entrepreneurial Connectivity Program, which we implement with the endorsement of CLAD, CINCAE, and CAMTIC. Today's discussion centers on a crucial topic for the development of university entrepreneurial ecosystems, the role of students as key players in building and strengthening these ecosystems. Entrepreneurship at universities goes far beyond the classroom. Universities can act as bridges between academia and practice, and students with their energy, creativity, and capacity for innovation become the driving force behind change within their local ecosystems. They challenge the status quo, experiment with new ideas, and create valuable connections within the entrepreneurial community. Today, we are privileged to have Norris Kruger, a renowned expert in entrepreneurship and education, as our keynote speaker. And additionally, we have an outstanding group of international and Central American panelists who will share their experiences from different perspectives and regions, providing valuable insights into how students can be transformational agents in their universities and beyond. Our agenda for this event is structured as follows. First, Norris Kruger and our panelists will introduce themselves. Then Norris will deliver his keynote presentation on the role of students in entrepreneurial ecosystems. Next, the panelists will share their experiences in 5 to 10 minute segments. And finally, we will open the floor for discussion where everyone will ask questions to one another and share additional thoughts. This event is an invaluable opportunity to reflect on how we can further enhance student participation in our university ecosystems. And with that, I will now hand it over to Norris to kick off this inspiring session. Welcome, and let's have a great discussion.
I'm glad to be here. Bienvenidos a los estudiantes son nuestra alma secreta. That students really are our secret weapon. It's something I noticed ages ago, that it only recently really hit home the power of that. And Stephane, Professor Foliard, and I hosted a workshop at ICSB in last summer in Berlin. And usually when you have a good audience, not everybody contributes. Every single person in the room contributed some great insights and great experiences. So I'm very excited about this. You're going to be hearing our colleagues from around the world. Every single one of them is beyond amazing. So I'm going to try to talk less than I might normally do, because our Central American colleagues really should hear from them. And if you're looking down the road, think, okay, some of you may be looking to publish. You may be whether it's a journal article or a policy white paper. Here are a group of people. Every one of them would be a great colleague moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Norris. Should we go then around and then?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's start with Olimpia. Let's talk. Say a little bit about Olimpia.
Okay. So. Yeah, hello. I'm very happy to be here. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship at Tec de Monterrey in Mexico. And well, I met Norris and some of you in ICSB. So thank you very much for the invitation.
Thomas?
Hi, my name is Tomás de Camino. I am the director of the School of Intelligent Systems at Universidad Cenfotec here in Costa Rica. And I've been an entrepreneur myself. I have had several startups that I tried, more on the social entrepreneurship arena, but I have done that, and I have worked with students and other entrepreneurs in education and hardware acceleration of different types of startups.
Aleksandra? Aleksandra, where is Aleksandra now?
Here I am. Hi, everybody. My name is Aleksandra Janeska-Iliev. I am from the Faculty of Economics in Skopje, in Macedonia. It's a small landlocked country on the Balkans, and we are let's say, oldest institution when it comes to higher education. And I teach entrepreneurship at the first level of studies, at the postgraduate level, and various courses also for PhD students. So being the oldest university give us a wide pool of opportunities to kind of get in touch with all the potential that students have in the country, because it's the first place go to, and it's expected for us to raise the entrepreneurial potential and to be a very active player in the entrepreneurial community, entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Thank you. Plubio.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I am Plubio Monterroso. I'm the director of the Entrepreneurial Center in Universidad Rafael Landívar. Rafael Landívar University has been the oldest private university in Guatemala. We have around 30,000 students throughout the whole country. And I have been a professor for 15 years now, mainly on the topic of entrepreneurship. So I have learned a lot, and I have a lot of experience also being an entrepreneur myself. So this has been a very interesting journey. This is my third year as the director of the Entrepreneurship Center in Landívar. So it is just great to be here in this conversation and to meet you all. Thank you.
We have Gabor. Gabor? What is Gabor? We don't have Gabor. Okay, well, let's go to Maureen.
Hello, everyone. I am Maureen Serrano. I am the CEO of Bisquick, which is a tech startup. We promote experiential learning throughout students and help them to develop different skills. I'm also an entrepreneurship professor at the University of El Salvador in UNASA. And also previously I worked with students promoting entrepreneurship at the Business Incubator at Tecnológico de Costa Rica. I am from Costa Rica, by the way. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so happy to discuss with you about entrepreneurship and how students are key players for growth and also potential of impact in the world. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Stephane.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephane Foliard. I'm associate professor in German University, Saint-Étienne, France. I'm also the vice president of this university in charge of entrepreneurship. In my university, I have created several programs to help students to learn through entrepreneurship. And more precisely, it was a venture creation program. They learn through the real creation of business. So I've got a lot of contact with ecosystem actors. And I also have developed my favorite topic research regarding the relationship between our students and the key actors of the ecosystem. And I was in Berlin with Norris. It was really exciting to meet you there.
Thank you. What about Lisette?
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisetter Canales. I am the Dean of Business in Universidad Tecnológica de El Salvador. In our faculty, we promote the spirit of entrepreneurial the university. We are the private largest university in the country. So I am so happy to be here with all of you. And I think that we can share many experience about the young people in our countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisette. What about Marco?
Hi, I'm Marco Canales. I'm the Dean of Engineering at the Universidad Tecnológica Centroamericana, UNITEC. We are a relatively young university, 38 years young. And I, as a the Dean of Engineering. My student population is around 2,500, distributed over 8 different engineering programs. We've had a lot of growth in research over the last 7 years, but these research projects are now burgeoning into innovations, which are becoming products, and we want to be able to channel them into companies, make them into companies. So I'm very interested to be able to take part in this discussion.
Thank you very much, Marco. What about Mickey?
Hello, everybody. My name is Mijalche Santa. My international name, Mickey. Much easier to pronounce. I'm colleague of Aleksandra, and I'm also from the Faculty of Economics at Cenfotec Methodius University in North Macedonia. My background is in information systems, and I teach information systems development and digital innovation on undergraduate levels, and let's say infrastructures and research on postgraduate levels. I'm also Vice Dean for Science and International Cooperation, and we are aiming through our work actually to move the faculty towards an entrepreneurial hub where actually students with companies can co-create solutions for them.
Thank you so very much, Mickey. And then we are going to let Norris give us the introductory keynote address. Go ahead, Norris.
It says my sharing is not turned on.
Okay, sharing. Let me go to sharing. Yes. Okay. What about now?
All right. Thank you. That this has been very exciting because as I said before, it's something that I've noted for a long time. In fact, that was the tagline in my in my email signature, that students are a secret weapon. And about this time last year, I was talking with Stephan and sort of like, what are you interested in? And what are you interested in? And it turns out we both had shared a passion for this, and it became a very well received workshop at International Council for Small Business. We're trying to turn this into a book chapter for publication, so we can get our colleagues published. And Stephan has proposed a symposium for the Academy of Management this summer. So we're making progress, but we need to try to get this. If this is a global phenomenon, then we want to get the globe involved. So let's see if I can figure out how to do this. All right. I've done terrible things to the gallery. One of the things that one of the insights that I had the last couple of years is that, and it started during the pandemic, is that people were studying how universities did boundary spanning. How do they engage their stakeholders? And the consensus is globally that universities are terrible at engaging their stakeholders. They are not good at boundary spanning, but they think they are. And it kept surfacing that the most productive interactions sometimes were because of the students. And the university wasn't even necessarily aware of it, that they were not necessarily encouraging it. The students were doing this, were very motivated to intrinsically. They're doing it because it was fun, that they saw value to it, and moving forward was this. At the same time, that this is sort of A+ experiential learning for the students. The students are doing deep transformative learning without necessarily realizing that's what's going on. So they have this amazing phenomenon. And what we discovered is this is going on at a lot more places than I had realized. I had sort of said, well, I like doing this, so I'm cool. I must be really cool because my students are doing this, and I'm finding out that this is happening everywhere. So it is it has been fascinating. We're thinking about the best of experiential learning in entrepreneurship. There was a study done nearly a decade ago by HE Innovate in Europe, that venture of the EU and the OECD. They showcased 26 of the best K-12 primary, secondary entrepreneurship programs in the world, and they all shared the same characteristics, that the programs were student-led. Almost all of them were student-designed, and they might be 9 years old, but they're helping to co-create their own great learning experience. And all I could think of was, where was this when I was 9 years old? You have a great educator at the helm. There's a lot of good assessment, but the intriguing thing was, no matter how young the students were, they were leading this engagement. It's really, they're deeply engaging with the ecosystem, but they're also bringing participants in the ecosystem into the classroom, into the school itself. And that's the fancy education word is co-immersion, that you're blurring the lines between, cognitively, certainly between the school and the students with the community. And it's very exciting to notice that, there's some great examples of this. Some of them are more famous than others. You're going to hear from my colleagues on the panel. Aalto University in Finland was a great story. Aalto was created from 3 universities: a business school, an engineering school, and a design school. They said, we're going to give you a lot of money, make it one university. And so all the faculty and administrators are worrying about this and who gets paid what and which sign goes on which door. And the students saying, can we do something? We want to engage with the entrepreneurial community. And the dean went, is this going to cost anything? No, fine, just leave us alone. And the next thing you know, they had an absolutely robust student ecosystem. There's a famous entrepreneurship conference every December in Finland called Slush, because it's cold and wet in December in Finland. That was designed by the students and is still being run by them. That absolutely fantastic example of the students being able to make great things happen. They've developed incubators. They have the Aalto Design Factory, which had just started during his time. And it's like, that was very impressive. But these are high level, tech students in Scandinavia. If we only knew how much this is going to continue. And over in Sweden, the Chalmers, the School of Entrepreneurship, they actually have a 2-year program, a Master's of Science in Technology Commercialization, where teams of students play midwife to technologies that are coming out of the university, out of industry, out of the entrepreneurial community. And they actually work with them to try to deliver this IP and turn it into a viable company. And in a large fraction of, they get outside funding. And then, the students, so we've got students in their early 20s who are raising venture capital. That is, again, quite enviable. University of Buckingham in the UK has a program where they intentionally co-immerse their students with the business community. And if you know the Dragon's Den show, like Shark Tank in the US, one of the dragons lives walking distance from the university, so that's not a bad thing. There are other sort of variations on this. I work with a group called Connect Capital that helps educate people on how to pursue external funding. And a key element of that is having student interns that are really more than interns. They become deeply involved in the process and learning not just about the ecosystem, but they see things in the ecosystem that their elders don't necessarily do that. Back in the 1970s, the U.S. Small Business Administration had a program called the Small Business Institute. no idea why they named it that, but they would actually pay universities to send student teams out to help local small businesses, including startups. And when I was in graduate school, we had the largest one in the US because I was at Ohio State University, which is a gigantic university. We had lots of students, so we're able to do a lot of projects. And I was staggered at the students basically never failed. Every single team, we might do 40 a year, and every time the students delivered. And there were the occasional moments, and Stephan will have a laugh about this. I would be arguing with the students, oh, no, we should do it this way. And the students are going, no, we need to do it this way. And then guess who was always right? The students. Because they put a lot of time and effort in. They want an A. So they're not going to let, we love you, man, but no, we have to help this company. And we expanded that to working with entrepreneurial support organizations, nonprofits. It was just, I was such a big fan of this. There was a lot of paperwork being the US government. And so the funny thing is when the US government stopped paying people, participation went up. More people got involved because they wanted to, it was such a great learning experience, but they didn't want to do the paperwork. No paperwork. And then when I was here when I was still teaching at Boise State, that the students were helping our large federal research lab to assess the market potential of new IP that was coming out of the lab. And the two funniest things, one is that our students were doing it and the lab wasn't paying us. And there was another lab that was doing something similar. And when they saw what we were doing, they stopped paying their university. And that guy is still mad at me 20 years later. They also had the head of the lab, who's a retired, very senior admiral in the US Navy, gives a talk in Boise, and he praised my students, saying that some of them, they gave the students, here's a technology. See what you can find, what you can figure out. They also gave it to McKinsey. And the guy actually said, our students were just as good as McKinsey. Now, McKinsey's putting in 10 hours. Our students, collective teams, are putting in 200 hours, so it's not a fair comparison. And the dean of my business school yelled at me. He said, our students aren't capable of doing this. Like, what? But fortunately, there were students in the audience, so we had a great semester the next time. The students were like, oh, we'll show him. It's just a very joyous experience. And there are others. We saw at ICSB that most of the key staff for ICSB are not professors, but they are students who've been given immense responsibilities. And that has been quite joyous. That there's some things that I been working on, again, how do we take advantage of that? And so working on some courses on ecosystems and taking advantage of this. We're collecting more examples on this. Reviewers say we need a stronger conceptual framework. Most entrepreneurship reviewers haven't studied education theory and practice. But it's been very exciting. So what I'd like to do is is at this point to, kick it to our panelists, and rather than me talking about that, I've got a couple things I'd like to quickly mention how we're going forward. But there are a lot of interesting stuff. I'm going to come back to that at the end if we have time permitting. But I'm excited to hear about what Olimpia, Thomas, Aleksandra, Plubio, Maureen, Stephan, Mickey, and Lisette, and Marco have to say. So I'm going to yield the floor to, I think, Olimpia. You are first up. Will you dazzle us?
Okay, let's also, can you close the sharing now, Norris?
Yes, that would probably.
Thank you.
I'm assuming it's going to let me close that. I think you can close it. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. The little window.
Okay, good.
You know.
Okay, let's start with Olimpia sharing some of her experiences. Go ahead, Olimpia.
Yeah, thank you very much, Norris. Thank you, Rene. I will share my screen as well.
Go ahead, let's see.
So-
Okay, okay.
So, well, thank you very much for the invitation, and it's been very interesting to listen in different experience we all have, but at the same time we share same ideas about the students. I know. So, well, for sharing with you what I've seen the role of students is in these building the entrepreneurial ecosystems, I would like to share with you our entrepreneurship bachelor program that we have at Tec de Monterrey, because it is through this program that we try to integrate students into the entrepreneurial ecosystem and to enhance them to develop it. So I would like to share a little bit with you what this program is about. So, well, this is a model that we built just recently in the last 5 years. And what we do is it has three stages. The first stage is, we call it exploration, which is the first 3 semesters that we get together all the business students and to give you their foundation. It's the fundamentals of business in general, and so that they can learn about all the related careers to confirm which one to choose. In this case, entrepreneurship as a bachelor degree. Right, and then the second stage in the focus is what we call the focus stage. Is middle 3 semesters. They develop some the core competencies through some challenges, some specific challenges. Through related to these challenges are to start building their own businesses. So here is where they start forming their networks and engaging with the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So they start living the experience of creating a company, but they also start sharing their experiences among all the students. So this is how they start developing this ecosystem as well. And then in the specialization stage, which is the final 2 semesters, here students have the freedom to tailor their experience based on their passion and career goals. It's not only building, creating a company, but they can choose actually between different interests and passions, and they can like focus more on, it can be on scaling their business, but it can also be on engaging deeply within the ecosystem and start like working more with incubators, accelerators. So they start being part of the ecosystem and not only on the idea of creating a business. So this is how we try to focus, to enhance students to be part of the ecosystem. And this is really a co-creation of their career. They really co-create their program. It's not just the traditional program we used to have or we have in other programs. But here, this is a very unique program because students are not just passive learners. They can actively shape their own entrepreneurial experience, first by creating their companies, then by creating this network, so they can co-create their journey. That is how we try to make this program work, and this is really how they perceive it. And well, they learn how to support each other through mentoring among students, but also getting support from the incubator, the accelerators, and other parts of the ecosystem, right? And this is well, some examples of what they perceive and what they can be part of in the ecosystem. They have the opportunity, well, to participate. For example, at Tec de Monterrey, we have this, which is called the Institute, the Entrepreneurship Institute Eugenio Garza Lagüera, which is this gives support to all the students in the university, and they can interact with different students from different programs through the institute. There we also have an incubator and accelerator where they can, if they decide to, they can validate and scale their businesses. We also have a festival, an international festival every year, which is called Inc. Monterrey. I hope you have come, or we can invite you to come, because it's a very interesting festival where they can, again, be part of the ecosystem and give something from their experience, share something from their own experience to create, to develop this ecosystem. And well, here also we have mentors. Many of the professors, we are mentors as well for them, and for also other students from different careers, and they can become mentors while they're students or once they finish. So, well, there are many opportunities. This is just to share with you what we're doing at Tec de Monterrey, and we really try to students to form these communities, to exchange ideas, and launch their startups, but in general to be part of the ecosystems, right? So, although we give all these infrastructure to students, it is really them who make it happen, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olimpia. Doctor Tomás del Camino Beck. Do you want?
Just a second. Sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
I'm not gonna give a full-length presentation, but I'm gonna bring perhaps to the discussion some other issues that I think we have created some sort of myth or false idea of what entrepreneurship is. But the truth is that the structure for entrepreneurship to develop in Central America is missing. And to give an example, I mean, we all know Silicon Valley, right? And we think it's the greatest thing around. But Silicon Valley started with heavy investment from the Department of Defense, but heavy. And with a specific law that would allow the development of military, specifically military technology through entrepreneurship. And that's what got started, especially the development in semiconductors and computer technologies. We have to keep that in mind. And the second example is China. China has been able to develop entrepreneurship with heavy investment from the government. Like there was a program called Made in China 2015. They created specific ecosystem for entrepreneurship, Shenzhen, Beijing, and some other areas. And there is a culture of sharing before making it like a big entrepreneurship. So, and in Silicon Valley, it was the same thing. All the computer technologies were shared, widely shared. If not, it would have been impossible to create an ecosystem of real heavy value of entrepreneurship. And that's called a pre-competitive collaboration, meaning that to have a real explosion of entrepreneurship, we need to create a basic or foundational technologies that would allow us not just to do small business, but to do actual large business, to make big money out of these technology. And a good example of how that works is you can see it with OpenAI and DeepSeek, right? The difference between closing a technology too early and then when it needs to be open, because it's impossible that OpenAI has all the smart people in the world to be able to push further that technology, because they didn't even create that everything on their own, right? It was based on openly published technology. The computer was based on von Neumann openly publishing the architecture that most computers have nowadays. So given that as a sort of a kind of negative, perhaps, introduction, at our university, I think we're kind of working on the same kind of strategies that all universities are. We have some sort of yearly tournament, I would say, which is just an entrepreneurship kind of tournament where we challenge students to use certain technology, specifically cyber physical systems, to create a mixture of physical hardware and software. Our university is basically a computer university. We teach all our programs are based on software developments, information systems, cloud computing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and data analytics, and so on. So we're a heavily just technological university, and so this sort of event that we do annually, what it does is try to get students to think of some ideas and to build cyber physical systems. So we're heavily focused on, I would say, in hardware acceleration, more on the business part of entrepreneurship, meaning that we want students not only to just solve problems or think of possible business opportunities, but actually being able to build something, right? Because most of our, and in my experience from other university, students don't have the ability to build anything, right? So they may think of some, I remember I was the judge in some entrepreneur contest. I was actually, I think it was with Tec Monterrey in Mexico, in León, as I remember. I went to an event there, and there was this group doing some AI idea, and none of them had the ability to develop AI. So basically they have a great business idea, but none of them knew actually how to build it. So part of their entrepreneurship, they need to hire somebody to create it. That's not going to work. It's going to be sort of a Zuckerberg idea, right? Where these two brothers had the idea, but they don't know how to do it. And then the smart guy gets the idea and it's like, I don't need these guys. I can do it on my own. And still, it's not a created idea yet. They cannot claim. They just said, I want to have a social network, right, and say that was my idea or something like that. Anyway, but then we have this and we focus on developing more building, prototyping, creating ideas, and building software and hardware, both. But then we do something else that I think it's interesting. Our university itself is doing social entrepreneurship. We created, there's a deep need of technological education in Costa Rica, and then there is nothing in the government. This term has not done a lot for technological education. So I designed our own a small robot, low cost, that would use in a tournament to teach high school students programming and computer thinking and all those things. So we created this in 2023. This was the first version. The first tournament, it's Sumobot. Sumobot is a robot that has to fight with one another and then push themselves out of a rink, and then that's what they did. And so then at the first year of the tournament, we had only about 100 students participating. Last year, we had 650 students participating, and this year we are manufacturing this robot in China because we are building more than 1,000 robots for this program this year. And it's a heavily engaged tournament, and the idea of this this project is that we design the robot, we create an fully open source robot, and at this point it's the cheapest robot you can get for a technological education. It's programmed in Python. There are a lot of completely open source, and everything is published online, so it can be a self-guided kind of learning. We don't have to spend lots of amounts of money teaching kids to do things. They can discover things on their own, and it has worked wonderfully. And the other thing that is really important is that the robot is designed such a way that students can appropriate the robot and express themselves with the technology. And you can see they change the robot, but not in a hardware kind of ways, but more in an expressive way. And the idea is that we want these kids to feel that this robot belongs to them. It's a manifestation of their own ability. And then you can see that from all the hundreds of robots that we had last year, then every kid created kind of their own. And it's a simple tournament that it's based more on more like a sport competition more than a competition that yields some sort of other kind of sentiment on the students. And I would say, as just also to leave some questions on the table. And in Central America, we have a problem with entrepreneurship. It's not private funding that makes entrepreneurship. It's government funding, and it's a mixture of both. And I'll give you an example. I had a robot similar to this. I did a startup with a colleague of mine. We gave it to an organization here in Costa Rica. They loved the robot. We built, I think, about 30 of them for them to have a pilot program with this organization, which this organization would handle all the technological education in Costa Rica. And they wanted to have some changes. I said, it's not the philosophy of the teaching. I think you have to do something else with respect to teaching, because that way it's very conductivist. I want something more constructionist, based on papers and so on and so forth. They said, well, we're going to think about it. And a couple of months went by. My robot was open source. They actually did a government project asking for somebody to sell my robot. Right? So it didn't include me. And then I couldn't participate because the conditions for somebody to apply for this government sort of, what's it called in English? I forgot, Licitación. Well, anyway, for this government project, I mean, I wouldn't meet the requirements because I was a startup made in a couple of months ago, right? So we have a deep problem in Central America that we want to do entrepreneurs. Students are really good, no question about it, because they feel more free to express themselves. But there is not the level of funding that we need. And some of those ideas of entrepreneurship are really, really weak. They're not strong enough. They don't have the ability to push it to the level where you can say, wow, this is truly something that will have an impact in a business impact or a social impact, a cultural impact, and so on and so forth. So I think we're naive to think that our students have that ability to create. And there is not a single example in Costa Rica where students have created some sort of startup that has changed anything in Costa Rica or Central America. There is not a single example. And we have been doing this for many, many years, if not decades. Anyway, sorry to be the sort of the devil's advocate or something like that, but that's some of the experience I had. I'm pretty sure El Salvador and perhaps Maureen has a similar experience. She has been trying to do this for a while as well. So thank you. I'll leave it as that.
Thank you so very much. It's very enlightening, Thomas. What about Aleksandra?
Hi again, everybody. So I will try to share some of my presentation, but I don't think that it will work. I'm trying to fix that because something is wrong with my computer. But what I will share and what is going to work, I think, the best is sharing all the smiles we had at our Center for Social Entrepreneurship. Basically, I think that we as educators, must work on thinking how to make our students more resilient, more adaptable, and empowered. And the question is, do we do that actually in a university setting? We are very traditional settings where we have something, especially in the region, where we have some things that can be or cannot be done. And students are limited, their potential is limited in a way that we bring them in certain paths where they feel that they have to comply. So figuring out how to raise their level of creativity and engaging them in various activities has brought us great results and very good motivation from the side. We are a business school, so we teach about business subjects mainly, but we as people from the entrepreneur education setting want to engage them to feel more prepared and also to be willing to engage into entrepreneurial ventures. So how we are going to do that? Traditional ways didn't work. People see that always there is not enough resources, and being an entrepreneur, as always telling them, is about not having the right resources, but being creative with what you have. So we created this Yunus Center at our faculty, which is actually related strongly to social entrepreneurship in the first phase, but we wanted to grow something more to being a entrepreneurial, like kind of a melting pot for the campus we are at. And we are at the campus of social sciences, where a great, let's say, number of students are circulating, and they are having a wide set of opportunities to engage. And the new generations, especially the Z generations, want opportunities where they feel that they can contribute with something, they can change something, that their contribution is valued. So I will try here now to share a little bit of what we do in just a second, because I'm both now at my computer and on my phone, so we'll see how that works. This is our Facebook page, which will implicate. We actually did something recently, which was very, let's say, good received. We did the first, here are some of our activities, and you will notice the great smiles of our students in doing different initiatives, from, of course, traditional hackathons, traditional ideation events, and so on. But what they liked the most was this event, for instance, which they could have created something for the entrepreneurs, a product. So one of the banks actually, for the first time, decided that they will let students create a product for social entrepreneurs. It was very hard to negotiate actually to the business community to get engaged in those kind of things, especially banks being very regulated and very stigmatized, and they are very in the comfort zone, let's say, when it comes to financing or supporting entrepreneurs in any way. And maybe also they're in the ideation phase or in the startup phase, not the point to go to, but we wanted to open up the discussion also and to bring more actors into the ecosystem. So one of the banks, which is more, let's say, looking towards the future and towards raising the entrepreneurial mindset in the country as a narrative, they accepted the challenge, and all of the students were greatly stimulated, and some of them actually are now in some smaller tries of establishing their own ideas. They have also joined, even they are still in the faculty, they have joined some of the initiatives of other entrepreneurs to help them out in a way as collaborators. So they're pretty active. And this has been one of the most visible for us initiative as a center. And all of these students are, imagine, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of their studies. So they have a lot of things to go, but eventually they have supported all our activities, and the more we provide them with such opportunities, they're more than happy to contribute and to feel part of that whole, let's say, initiative. So the idea of creating events which are related somehow to the major things happening at the faculty, which are in regular activities, has brought us a wide set of inspiration and has brought us to some of the experience where we can say students feel part of the process, and it was mentioned that they co-create in a way. So we also often provided opportunities. For instance, we take a small business, and that small business has some kind of challenge to face, and our business students are helping them to overcome that challenge, whether that is preparation of some, I don't know, marketing campaign, communication, business plan, whatever. And they used our students as type of consultants for their business. It was hard to bring together on one side the business sector, on the other side and the students, to convince both sides that they can offer something to each other. And we as educators have the role to facilitate and to navigate some things eventually. So I think the role of entrepreneurial education has been transformed. Sorry. We as educators have been, let's say, challenged to transform our way of doing things and our way of teaching into bringing together the different actors from the ecosystems and let them create something which is of value, and let also young people especially understand how entrepreneurship can be of value for the whole society, not from only of themselves, because we share a great deal of, let's say, understanding that entrepreneurship is something that is creating of employment growth from a macroeconomic perspective, and also it creates certain values in any sector of society. So there is many more things like I can share from our activities. We have been now establishing the facilities will be opened because we didn't have any physical space allocated. We have initiated a physical space where actually it will be student-led, and they will there organize different type of events in accordance with the needs, and that would be also synchronized with some of the activities we have in class. In the entrepreneurship courses we have on the undergraduate study, two core courses which most of the students at the business school can. Some have them mandatory, but some have them optionally. One is related to the introduction of entrepreneurship, and the other one is related more about business planning, and it's growth of small business. So those two courses try to kind of inspire the students to get along in this and come into the Unit Center and do different types of activities. So we have both the activities in the center and the activities in class somehow connected and made them related, but also now students on themselves want to do more and have more different types of training, and therefore we are arranging and discussing to talk with different stakeholders, to talk with different mentors from the ecosystem to come into our center and eventually guide our students. That would be in short. If there are any further discussion, we can open up a lot of different questions. Our experience for this new generation is always being engaged and let them do their thing, but navigating, not being the traditional professor or teacher. Also withdraw a lot of things from the experience and also engage strongly the business community, because even the corporate sector understands that having an entrepreneurial mindset is something they can value in their own company as well. There are more and more companies, so we're trying to build that bridge between academy and the business sector, and how to do it better than with good entrepreneurial ecosystem. So that would be my final thing. Thank you everybody for the time and the opportunity.
Thank you, Aleksandra. What about Plubio?
Thank you, Rene.
Can you stop sharing, Aleksandra? Let's say.
Excellent.
Here we go. Okay.
Thank you. Well, let's see where to start. It's very interesting how every time we try to discuss a topic related with the students, it's always a bit of a challenge. Our program in the entrepreneurship course started almost 25 years ago here in the university. And we started growing into another faculties. We have spread the word of entrepreneurship in the university, in the faculty of architecture, the faculty of medicine, which we focus on nutrition. And we have focused also the course of entrepreneurship in the faculty of agriculture. You know, Guatemala is an agriculture country, and we try to help that faculty also on providing the topics of the entrepreneurship course on that faculty. And around 9 or 10 years ago, we started developing this open innovation program, where we try to get the companies into the university to bring a challenge or a problem that needs to be solved. But the companies throughout their day-to-day, they cannot make the time to solve those problems, but they are problems that need to be solved. So we have arranged with a lot of companies to solve those problems and doing that based on innovation. And we have noticed that the student, if they are not interested in entrepreneurship, they are interested in innovation. And you can tell because our country is based on entrepreneurship, based on necessity, not on opportunity. So we have found that the student is sometimes a little bit more interested on the Open Innovation program, not only on the entrepreneurship program. Why? Because they want to go corporate. Usually the course that we teach on entrepreneurship is on the last year, the last year of their career. So every time you ask them what they want to do after they finish university, they want to go corporate. And it's funny because we ask them, well, how much money you want to make per month? And they would start from $5,000 per month. And I bring them down to around $1,000 per month. So they get like this first look at the scenario that they're going to face after they finish the university. And I tell them, okay, you should start looking into the entrepreneurship career if you want to explore and make that amount of money. It's not a guarantee, but you can try it. And I have seen how the student changes his mindset throughout the course. Right now, today we have class, and we expect them to show us the validation of the ideas that they are planning to do throughout the last what the semester is going to last. We are about not midway. We're getting close to midway on the semester. So based on that, we discovered that doing that Open Innovation program is going to help them to get close to the private sector. And based on that, we developed this bachelor in innovation 3 years ago. This year, we are entering our third year with the bachelor. It's a 4-year bachelor. And we have right now around 75 students throughout the 3 years, the 3 promotions. And they have this, after 2 years of studying the bachelor, they have this, I forgot the word, but they have this certification after 2 years in entrepreneurship. And then after the 4 years completed, they have the bachelor in innovation. Well, how we have noticed that the students are interested also in intra-entrepreneur, being an intra-entrepreneur. That has been sounding a lot of throughout the private sector. Private sector has been asking for entrepreneurs. They have been asking also for the innovation managers. So we have like done this pivoting around the careers in the entrepreneurship course. Also, we have focused also on the alumni, trying to get them back to the university with a incubator and an accelerator process. We had last year an opening, and we received around 95 applications throughout the alumni, and we were able to graduate 20 entrepreneurs on the incubator and 20 on the accelerator. And that has been like how we've been working around the programs, trying to get what the student wants, including alumni. And usually it's always a challenge. Somebody was mentioning when you try to get the government involved. I think it was Thomas. It's a big challenge to try to get the government involved because they have to do like this budgeting thing. And once you get the private sector, it has been amazing. We have worked with the biggest banks here in Guatemala the last 2 years. They have bring the problem, and the students have been able to give the solution, and the banks have put their eye on a couple of students, and they have hired them. So I think that's also a good thing, not only on providing the entrepreneurship theme, but also on the innovation part, because they're going to want to go and work to a company. Right now, we're pretty close on closing another deal with another big bank here in Guatemala, and also a pharmaceutical company. We're about to have a meeting tomorrow to have those two open innovation programs. And one thing that I wanted to share with you is this picture of our last edition of the opening of the opening innovation program. We had 20 students the last year on the opening innovation program, and these are students you see here, students from marketing, from business administration, from graphic design, from industrial design, architecture, engineering, and accounting. And you cannot tell which student is from which career. They are all mixed. And that's what we do with the Open Innovation Program. We get them to work with another career that they are usually used to working throughout their career at the university. And they get to expand their network. And that's very useful. And I've seen these students grow from day one on the Open Innovation Program and up to the day that they present to the vice president of the bank, or the general manager or the marketing managers. And it's very comforting to see those students evolving throughout the program. And this is only on the Open Innovation Program, but we also I could share a lot of pictures also of the other programs that we have. But this is like the most iconic picture to show you, because you can see there students from all of mainly the careers in the university, to get them into the more close as possible to the private sector, and to get as close as it can get to real life. So that's basically what we have been doing over, I think throughout the last 10 years. It has been more exposed, and a lot of people also from the private sector, investors, they usually ask me, do you have a program or a project from your students that we could invest? Because that's also a part of Guatemala. You know, the economy of Guatemala, it is strong. We cannot say that our economy is lacking of something, or that we have a poor economy. Our economy is strong, and usually that's why we try to teach our students how you work your network is how you're going to get the investor, and how you're going to get him interested in investing in your projects. We have had disclose on an investor investing on the projects of our students. It has not happened. Why? Because they want to finish their career. They're 6 months away. When they get the offering, they're 6 months away from finishing their career, and they are focused on finishing their career. But then a couple of years after, they come around, they walk into my office and they say, Pluvio, I'm going to start a business. Help us out. And that's where our Entrepreneurship Center enters. So that's basically what we have been doing. It is a challenge always to try to get the mindset of the entrepreneurship in our students.
Thank you so very much, Pluvio. Now we are going to have Maureen, who is going to share her perspective. It's a little bit different, I believe, but you know, share your experience, I guess, with Bisquick, right? And is that correct? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Among others. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but I actually feel really identified with everything that everybody has said, because Bisquick, my startup, started when I was a student. So it started at Tecnológico de Costa Rica. And luckily, I started listening about entrepreneurship at my first semester at the university. So it kind of started motivating me, like, how can I create impact in the world? And I used to see a lot of students creating value with technology and biotech and medtech and different technologies, and using this knowledge they were getting to convert that into a business. So it was motivating for me as a student at that time to see it. And I started trying to create a business, and I had 2 fails, but nothing happened. I was a student and it was part of it. So it was good. I started creating some companies. It didn't work. And I would go and talk to professors and get help. And that's why I think it's really important. And there at Tecnológico de Costa Rica, there is a business incubator that helped me a lot during the process. So I kind of went through a process of learning how to do innovating processes with using design thinking, for example. So it was like 2 majors that I was taking, business, and on the side, I was learning about entrepreneurship by my own. But then also the multidisciplinary interactions that universities can create is crucial as well, because there is when I get to know my co-founders now. So it was really important to get to know different people from different backgrounds and different students that were also innovating and trying to create businesses. And that's where Bisquick started. And we started creating value, learning more about it. And our main need at that point, or worry that we had, was that we didn't know what we were going to do when we graduate. We knew we were getting knowledge and it was important, but then what was going to happen? So we created this software that connects students with companies for internships. We wanted to do it at scale. That's why we use software. And it was a long process, to be honest. It was really like different trials and trying to understand how businesses worked. It's a great challenge when you are a student. You don't have all the knowledge to apply something. My co-founder is a software engineer now, but at that time he was a student too. So it was challenging, to be honest. And there is when I think it's important to connect all the students with mentors, experienced mentors. And that's great. Like if you as a university represent, or as a director of a business incubator, focus on connecting your students with international mentors, BZs, investors, or software engineers, or specific industry mentors would be helpful for students to grow. But we took advantage from any source we could. The university was important. Then we started participating in incubators and accelerators internationally as well, which helped. And so we started getting support, also government support. We got funding from government, which helped also to build our MVP and our first version of the software. And that's how we started. Along the way, we connected and started creating different partnership with different universities and also companies. And then we were able to connect students from all Latin America with companies from the United States or Spain or Costa Rica. And now we have clients and are growing ourselves every single month. And it's been like a great blessing for us what we have done. But everything started from the university. Everything started from someone that motivated us to believe in ourselves as students and then go forward. So I believe that's key. Entrepreneurship is a key topic in the university. It should be promoted, and it should be a main focus because it's an alternative. Now we know that the workforce right now is really challenging for many students who doesn't have the skills or are not prepared, etc. So giving them an alternative to create value into the market, it's great. So yes, and as I said, now we are helping businesses at the same time as small and medium-sized companies to improve their marketing or design or software processes thanks to students' help. And we have seen how companies can have a group of students from different backgrounds just helping them every single month. And then they are it's like a win-win scenario. Students are growing, improving their skills, and going forward, getting professional experience. We certified their professional experience, so that's really helpful for them. And also companies are benefiting from that. So it's really good for both. And at this point, we are working with different partners and multinational companies as well. So yes, it's been a great journey. So that's an example of what you guys can do when you motivate students. So it's really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. And we are one of the happy customers, at EmpreSomos of this week, okay?
Yeah.
In fact, we have someone in Costa Rica who is one of the people that, is part of EmpreSomos as well. And she works online and she does a great job, okay? And Maureen was, the one that, made the choice. And so we're very happy about that. Thank you, Maureen. Okay, Stephan.
Thank you, Maureen, for this very exciting presentation and this testimonial. And thank you all for also was exciting insight. Maybe I will start with my vision of entrepreneurship in my university. University Jean Monnet in Saint-Etienne is pluridisciplinary by nature. We propose all the specialties except psychology, from medicine to engineering school to science, arts, business school, quite everything. So as you say, it's really, really important to help students to meet people from other specialty, other faculty, and to open the mind. my vision of entrepreneurship in this university is to propose entrepreneurship for every student. And we have designed a continuum, starting from awareness. So what we want to do is to propose information about entrepreneurship to all of the students. And then we help students to move from those informations to find an idea with creativity workshop, and then to turn this idea into project. And we have developed pre-incubation program, and then to turn this project into a company, and then into a scalable company. So this is a continuum, and we want to go step by step for every student, as I said before, and for every kind of innovation, not only deep tech. But what I think, just a reaction to Thomas or Plubio, regarding innovation, if we just focus on deep tech and innovator at the end of the process for a PhD student, for example, I think it's too late, and we really need to help our students to think about entrepreneurship, to foster this proactive and creative mindset before at the early beginning, and then to help them to maybe to turn into this entrepreneurial mindset that will help them to maybe to create a business today, and to start an innovation or innovative company or startup when they got this opportunity. So, but this is exactly what we want to do in my university. We want to also to try to turn a student into entrepreneur, into innovators, into also game changers. My students want now to have an impact on their territory in the area of my university. And I think to do that, there's nothing better than, as Olimpia said, experiential learning. I will maybe show you an example of what it means. It was, if everything is okay. Uh-oh.
You want to share your screen, Stephan?
Yeah, but, okay.
Can you?
I hope.
No. Hold on. Now you can. Go ahead.
Okay, I will try to do it again. No. Okay. A little bit, but I don't care. We'll do it again in another way. So, as I said in my personal presentation, I've created and developed some pedagogical program based on venture creation, but real venture, and not a simulation, and not just a workshop. The purpose is to learn within the ecosystem, with ecosystem actors in the real world, with real money. And I know that at the early beginning, I knew that it will be A+ experiential learning, as Norris said in this introduction. What we start to do is to understand what kind of knowledge, what kind of skills, what kind of attitude our students developed in contact of entrepreneurship ecosystem actors. Because what we can do in the classroom is to help them to prepare those interactions. And then when they are in the ecosystem, very difficult to know exactly what they do. So it's really important when we think about the pedagogical elements to think about assessment and to help them to understand what's happened in this real world. And what we understood is that they develop, of course, technical skills regarding starting and running a business, but also something really special. They develop this tacit knowledge, this know-how, they understand the rule of the game, and they talk like entrepreneurs do, and they learn like entrepreneurs do, and that's crucial. And what we understood is that we need to prepare our students with minimal prerequisites. Something that is really important for me is to understand the kind of relationship our students have with ecosystem actors. So we need to prepare them to get in touch with ecosystem actors, just because they need to have a certain level of professionalism. But what we also notice, and it's very close to that Maureen noticed, is that entrepreneurship ecosystem actors, act like mentors with our students. They are really happy to help them to
Thank you so very much, Stephan. What about Lisette?
Hello, sorry, I am in a hotel right now. So you are going to listen noise, right? Okay, I'm gonna share my
Screen.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, okay.
Okay. I feel so identified with some of you guys, because it's very difficult to teach entrepreneurship in the universities. The students want to work, they want to get job, to gain a salary, you know. But as university, our primary activity is to teach, no? In UTEC, we have the Entrepreneurial Leadership Promotion Program, and this program was created about 20 years ago. We have 24,000 students, approximately. Sorry, my English is not the best, but I hope that you can understand that I am trying to say. Our student population is approximately 60% employees and only 40% full-time students. They come from vulnerable areas in El Salvador, and the income of these students are less than $1,000 by monthly. And this is a country with a high participation of informal trade. Most of the people, the entrepreneurship is traditional in the sector, very, very traditional, no high tech, no, no high tech. Entrepreneurship, even though it's important in the classroom, students see it as just another task at the university. In our university, we have 3 years trying to get a sense of our entrepreneurial community. And in the last census, we got that more than 600 students respond. And the age of the entrepreneurial people is in 26 and 35 years. This is people that have a business ongoing. The sector you can see in this graphic is more in trade, commercial, follow of service, after that, production and manufacturing. What we do like a university in order to promote entrepreneurship, well, we create a course in 2004 that was incorporated in 16 study programs. We make several activities every semester in order to develop the entrepreneurial spirit. And also we have every semester one business prototype fair, a marathon about new solution or business ideas like an innovation rally, Genius Day, and others. Recently, this year, we were selected like a CC Hub Latin America by Public Foundation. This is a clean tech hub program in order to promote climate entrepreneurship in the country. So we are now the hub in El Salvador that are going to promote this kind of entrepreneurship. Now we realize that there are many actors in the university trying to promote entrepreneurship. So we are now centralizing efforts in order to support the better way our students. We have a technological entrepreneurship incubator that is called Genius. Also, we have this Tech Entrepreneurial Center that supports traditional entrepreneurship. Now, this year, we have a CCE Hub that is going to promote green entrepreneurship or climate entrepreneurship. And also we have Nucleo Lab or Innovation and Social Lab that is called Lab Nucleo. This main joy is to promote social entrepreneurship in the country. So these are the actors. And what are the trends in the country? We think that maybe because universities, we are trying to teach entrepreneurship like a subject, you know, in the program. Students no feel the attraction or the motivation enough to entrepreneur, to get a business. So I saw in the last decade and in the last 10 years that organizations that are promoting entrepreneurship are rising, like Impact Hub, Insert, the Hub Lab, and others. What I think is the or which one I think are the main challenges that we have in university. The first one, Pluvio says that I think is brainwashing. Change the idea to be employee to create new solutions, new business, and going from survival employment to opportunity employment, no longer that underemployment either. And also, as a universities, I think we have to teach entrepreneurship from practice. The entrepreneur, he wants to act, he wants to get income. But in the university, we teach how to make your business plan. And this is a very long way to get in the business. So I think we have to be more fast or faster than the way that we are doing that. And also, I think that in the country, there are a lack of financial institutions for entrepreneurship. I think this say Thomas also that in Central America, he identified many people that have the capacity to entrepreneur, but the ecosystem is not supporting enough these kind of people. So I'm gonna stop here. So I am open to any question, observation that you have. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so very much, Lisette. This is very kind of you, very interesting. Now we are going to move to Dr. Canales, Marco.
Hi.
Let's wait a little bit for Lisette. Okay, here we are. Go ahead.
Okay, well, listening to our colleagues, I agree with a lot of what was said in the context of Central America. I think that our countries share a lot of things, and one of them is that we have a lot of raw talent, and we have core necessities, more poignant necessities than in some more developed countries. And we have very selective opportunities. Now, in the context of Honduras within Central America, let's say we have been less lucky with our governments, and success here is not really because of government initiatives, it's more in spite of the government initiatives. But this doesn't change the fact that we want to be able to build this success. And Unitec, the university where I work here in Honduras, it prides itself on entrepreneurship. We have very short time with our students. We have with them 4 years, and we have to take a selection. We're not a selective university in who we take in. So we take people from all walks of life, all levels of talent, and we try to build something, right? So I think we can think of this as we're trying to build winning soccer teams. Yeah, I think this metaphor might be able to help me explain our mindset. We're not trying to make winning soccer players. We're trying to make winning soccer teams, right? So the first thing to understand is that in these soccer teams, they won't all be the captain. And they have to have a varied range of talents. So we need people that will be forwards and midfielders, defenders, goalies. They can't all be forwards. And they need to know how to work together. They need to learn how to be team players. So in the beginning, our university, like I said before, is relatively young. And we pride ourselves in entrepreneurship. So we made it part of our academic programs that we would have entrepreneurship classes. But I think, like Lisette was mentioning, just having a class about entrepreneurship is not really a way to have our students engage and really understand what it means. It would be like trying to teach these how to make these winning soccer teams by giving students rule books and explanations about what the different soccer positions do during a game. And what we really figured out is that, sure, the rule books and these explanations need to exist, and our students need to have access to these resources. But we need to give them the tools that they need. We need to build the playgrounds where they're going to be able to engage. So we started building the playgrounds, like our entrepreneurship hub, to be able to give them the space that they would be able, where they would be able to develop these ideas and these concepts that they're learning about, these rule books, and be able to take flight and start forming their teams. But even then, we find that these playgrounds mean nothing if they don't have the tools to be able to, or the implements that they need to play the game, like the ball and the cleats and the appropriate like wear. So we started building spaces, like specialized spaces with specialized equipment that they can use to be able to generate the innovation that they can later develop within the hub. And we started having spaces like our Fab Lab. So we started building these playgrounds and giving them the balls and the cleats so that they could play soccer. But we also realized that if we just let them have these tools with no structure at all, sometimes they would play soccer, sometimes they would play something else, sometimes they would not play at all. And we needed to really start building events or competitions, something to give them that hunger that they would be able to pursue and build these ideas into the winning soccer teams. And so we started the ideas, much to the same level that our different colleagues have started mentioning, our innovation rallies, for instance, where we have them do a competition to solve a real world problem involving a real company. And we will let them conform their teams from different careers and different majors, and have them be able to present their proposals to coaches that will guide them and how to be able to use their talents to better obtain the results that they want. And we have started to be able to build some really, really wonderful winning teams. And it's still a very much of a work in progress. Our experience in these specialized tools is new. We're still trying to be able to pick up on everything that is going around in the world and be able to contextualize it to our Honduran reality and make sure that our students would be able to use everything at their disposal to be able to solve their specific needs. And I think it's something that we all need to always keep in mind here in our countries, like in Central America, that, like Plubio was mentioning before, these opportunities are selective. We need to be able to make sure that our students be able to take advantage fully of these opportunities. And, this would be my participation towards this discussion.
Thank you very much, Professor Canales. And well, we have a last one that is Mickey. Where is Mickey? Here it is. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Can I just share my screen for a very short presentation?
Great.
See. So one of the ideas that, do you see my screen? I think you see my screen now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So one of the ideas that we are trying to tackle now is that there is a tendency to see entrepreneurship and the activities that the students develop in innovation and entrepreneurship to be more into the startup prism and creating your own company, etc. But because our stakeholders that we are working in the environment, they're all existing businesses, which they need to improve their competitiveness and to develop new innovations or improvements in order to ensure their competitiveness. So one of the ideas that we are trying to, let's say, move forward, and this year is the first phase, the experiment that we are making, is we call it for in-company innovation. So the companies, is it a manufacturing company, is it a bank, is it a service company, etc., they will need to develop certain innovations, launch new products, etc. So what we try to do is we say, okay, let's see for in-company entrepreneurship, can we put our students in the companies and bring the companies to our faculty, and they to really say, okay, we want to do this and this, and we want you to give us and work with us with the idea. What is the idea is first to get a quick impact. So actually within the 3.5 months that we are having these activities with the students, this to be immediately seen in the organization that is participating in the project. We are trying also to give the students a real life experience. So the goal is that we're going to invite all these executives and responsible persons within the classroom, where they're going to say, okay, you pitch this idea, this is planned to be done every 3 weeks, so you explain and give feedback, to just say, okay, this works, this doesn't work, take in account, come to our company, stay 1 day to see how it works. And the idea is to provide this real experience for the students while they're doing their studies. And the last thing, what we are hoping to do is building a relationship, because the companies are struggling to attract employees. So they have a very big problem getting students to work for them, because the students have so many opportunities and there is so many options where to get employed. So the company, we want to build a relationship with the companies to say, okay, look, you are getting maybe not very well solution, but you are actually explaining to the students how your organization functions, what is the challenges, where they can fit, instead of trying to recruit them after their 4th year. And with this, we want to actually, how we structure it, we say, okay, there is one problem. So for example, it could be a bank, or it could be an IT company, or it could be a distribution company. And they come and say, okay, we want to improve our services to the companies, or we want to open a new market, new target group, etc. So you need to help to us. We say, okay, this will be done within 3 months, but it will not be done through one course. So I teach digital innovation, but for this semester, the experiment, we include a colleague that teach digital innovation, digital marketing, and business planning. And the idea is the students from different courses will work independently to develop an innovation, a business plan, etc. But the idea is to replicate how it works in organization. So the executive comes and say, okay, we need to create something new. And then there is the marketing department, there is the business department, there is planning department, finance department. They all combine themselves to discuss, etc. And at the end of the semester, they need to provide a solution that is, we call it more a holistic innovation, that is not only saying, okay, you need to implement artificial intelligence, but how this should be positioned. What is the business model that needs to be developed? How are you going to promote it? What are the financial implications? And because different colleagues are teaching these different courses, they can go in depth for their course there, and the students can understand how that impacts the other aspects. So we say to achieve this, we create same teams that are, let's say, working on the same problem in different courses. And because we are strongly making an agreement with the businesses, they to get involved in the process, we are actually ensuring that the students get feedback on time. And as a result, they will be more, if they do, let's say, 3 times this in 3 semesters in their 8 semesters, they have 3 semesters where they can do this. We assume that they will have a sufficient experience to understand how to develop something new within the organization, how to introduce a novel innovation, what aspects needs to be taken in account. And as a result, what we want to say is the next steps we want to scale this to faculty level. So to the whole faculty, we have around 2,000 active students, and there are like 100 courses, 60 people. So the idea is to scale this to the faculty and then make sure that in each department, each program, there will be 2 semesters where the students will have this in-company experience. And our next stage, in which we are actually now, when the companies started getting what the benefit to be them, we are teaching to them that now the students actually will get this from the courses, but we can move forward and we will create a separate space within the faculty, which could be called like Innovation Hub, or we can call it Hive, something like that. So based on that, the students will be able with your support and professors to continue this to a product level within your organization. So a representative from your company can come once a week, or we can send the students to there, and in that way to move forward the implementation of idea. So this is generally what we have done. We have shifted in a way from, not shifted completely. There is, as Aleksandra called, there is people and groups that are working on entrepreneurship and innovation as it's generally known, but we wanted to engage with our community more, and we came up with this idea of in-company innovation. And this is something also an experiment for us to see how it will work out. So that is briefly what I wanted to show.
Thank you very much, Mickey. I have one general question. I have found that yeah, let me can we? Okay, great. I found that some people are focusing more on starting up businesses. Some other ones, entrepreneurship. People that go to work for companies. Some other have mentioned social enterprise. I don't know if there is a common theme, which is the entrepreneurial mindset that can be applied to social entrepreneurship, to high tech, to different types of endeavors. And somehow this is something that is a common theme, things that you are trying to create, to build in your students. I don't know if I am wrong. I mean, I just bring that to the floor. You are the experts, but that's what I'm hearing, right?
Well, Rene, I to the degree that we're doing a good job of measuring the entrepreneurial mindset, which we really aren't on the research side, that different settings do require sort of different facets of this mindset, that it's these, at a deep level, it's things like action orientation, and acceptance, even embrace of uncertainty and ambiguity. There are some things I think are common themes across it. And it's not just entrepreneurs, that healthy humans should be more action oriented. They need to be more welcoming of uncertainty, and other things that we're not necessarily rewarded for in our normal existence. I mean, I see across all these programs that they're providing uncertainty and ambiguity to their students, and the students are learning to welcome it. And I think, that's a common thread through that. But it's hard. I was horrified to hear that, Tomás saying that students can start ventures, but they never get funded. They have real difficulty getting them off the ground. That's an issue. I think is just giving people the confidence that also that if they fail, they can learn from it and move on without dying. And getting several people said at an early age, as early as possible. In India, the Udyam Foundation decided they were going to do a program. They're going to build what they called the entrepreneurial mindset in very young students, in primary school students. And it's really an old model of exercise. In the US, we call it the dollar exercise, that you go into your classroom and say, okay, it's an entrepreneurship class, we're all going to start a business. And I'm going to be your banker, I'm going to be your investor. And I hand them each $1 or €1 and say, that's all you can spend. And I expect in 2 weeks you come back with $2 at least. And the students all tend to not be happy with this, but almost 100% of them come back. In India, their small pilot, they have a small pilot program. It's only 250,000 students. The average return the students made 5 times their money. They found some way to make money, and the learning not just from themselves, but just seeing all of their friends and classmates is finding things that people can they can demonstrate capability. They build the self-efficacy about being in business. And I look at all these programs. I am so excited that a lot of you can help existing businesses, you can help create new businesses. Those are not necessarily the same things, but if there's a common theme, is I guess it really comes down to this belief that I can do it. And there's a old notion called perceived self-efficacy from Albert Bandura. You can really be good at something, but you don't have the confidence to do it for real. And the self-efficacy is I can make this happen. And building that is powerful, whatever domain of behavior. But building this mindset, the same thing is there's also building of skills. And we do have some great tools for measuring entrepreneurial skills. The other thing that I see that sort of thread through this is thinking like a designer rather than a mechanic, that the students are being encouraged to create, and this ability for them to engage with a broad range of stakeholders is so powerful. And empowering the students to take autonomous action, to go out and do it themselves, and only occasionally come back and tell the professor what they're doing, can be very powerful. But mindset's a tricky term because the literature reviews of the subject said that people use the term very differently. But when I started out, the number one definition of entrepreneurial mindset in a research article was, I'll know it when I see it. That there was no definition. And the same thing happened with entrepreneurial ecosystems. Okay, how are you defining an ecosystem? They're not. And we've made a lot of progress. And I'm just looking at my notes from today, and I'm very, there's so much that is exciting, except for Marco, because all I could do is think about what a terrible goalie I am. I'm more of a midfielder, but people who don't get any glory, but somebody's got to do that. Point guard.
Maybe you are being humble, Norris. Maybe you are being humble.
Well, at my age, I'm probably not good at any of very good. I'm good at sitting on the sofa and yelling at the screen and asking, why did the manager of Man United make that stupid decision? It's a very American thing. But I'm really excited. I want to hear, but I'm talking way too much here. That there are other exercises and things that we can share. One is, everybody always says this, and it's hard to do, but I really do want everybody to stay in touch. I think what I love for every one of the presenters is that Stephan and Tomás and a couple others ended with a strong question. I would like to. What's your big burning question? After all these 2 hours, let me know what your big burning question is, and let's keep talking about that. I can't wait that when it was at Inc. Monterrey Olimpia, your big event.
You mean the one in on March?
Yes,
or November.
We're all coming. We're all coming and staying at your house.
Okay, that's perfect for sure.
I think
my house is your house.
Going to what you said, Norris, this platform is open whenever you want to have a new conversation, okay? So you can, just let me know and we can keep going. Now, Pluvio wanted to formulate a question or something like that. Go ahead, Pluvio.
Thank you, Rene. Well, it is not a question. It is based on the question that you threw us, Rene. And basically, I just wanted to explain a little bit of what Guatemala has been through since 2018. We got this law to strengthen entrepreneurship. We got this initiative, and it was finally passed through Congress, and it was authorized in 2018. Now, this I want to talk about two specific topics. We got authorized to issue instead of anonymous society, which is like the LLC equivalent, I guess. We got this specialty society in entrepreneurship. So you get people to come into to build a company, and you do partners, and basically you have to go through a test of if the venture is innovative enough in order to receive that category, that classification of social entrepreneurship society. But up to today, only around 37 companies have been issued instead of anonymous society, basically the entrepreneurship society. So that's one thing that I wanted to through. And the other one is that this law establishes that you have to start teaching entrepreneurship since the lower grades before entering the university. So I think it's a very good initiative to start giving that mindset, and also what Thomas was saying, to get the students to get to fail first in order so that when they come into the university, they can be winners. So if you throw them at the entrepreneurship mindset only up to the way that they come to the university, it's not going to work that well. So I think that taking a positive thought on Congress and on government in Guatemala is that law that they issued. Not everybody knows about the law, and the law states that government should fund initiatives for all ages and for all type of entrepreneurs. So that's a good way to start, I would say. In school, early ages in school, develop, and that's also taking the question that Stephan finished his explanation. What can we do? Well, we can focus on these kids and design a specific program for those kids. Here at the university in Guatemala, we have around 15 universities in Guatemala. So the competition is very tough. So we have designed a entrepreneurial cup, like the World Cup, Entrepreneurial Cup with the schools. So in that order, we can start teaching entrepreneur. We're going to teach entrepreneur to the school professors, and then they are going to teach to the kids, and we're going to do a cup, and we're going to give them prizes and whatever. And that's a way to start getting the university known in the school system, and also teaching and reinforcing the entrepreneurship mindset.
Great. Is there someone else who would like to raise a question, make a comment? Okay, Stephan.
Maybe to go ahead in this conversation and to always ask questions. The question I've got in my head is, what are our expectations regarding the outputs and the outcomes of entrepreneurship education? What do we want? Are we waiting for more companies? Are we waiting for big money? Maybe more entrepreneur or more employee with the relevant skills? Or maybe you can also think about game changers, about how our students can change the world, can be citizens with their value, and to help them to turn those values into something great. So to do that, I think we really need a better understanding of the entrepreneurial learning process. Everybody around the table presented extraordinary programs. Everything is relevant, but we really need to understand what's happened for students when they run, for example, in my program, when they run their company. We really need to understand that, to design relevant programs, but also to help our policymakers to promote those programs for everyone.
Now, one question that may be for the Central Americans. Thomas raised the issue that sometimes, and also Marco, governments are not very supportive of entrepreneurial activities, and that's a little bit of a challenge for entrepreneurs. maybe, we don't have an answer for that right now, but what are the alternatives to that? I mean, and Thomas comes from a government, okay, like Costa Rica, who has a tradition of being more accountable, this more democratic, more open, etc. Okay, and so how is it? Is it to go, to civil society? Some people mention it. I think it was Pluvio, go to banks. Yes, you link to with civil society organizations, with companies themselves, etc. But yeah, the governments are not going to be very supportive, and we may not have an answer, but this is something like a challenge, okay, for the region, how to do that. I mean, or how to work on that. I don't know, Thomas, you want to say something?
Yeah, well, definitely not easy, and Costa Rica is not as open anymore, at least with this government, and we can't. The sad thing is we can't at this point rely on the government, so we have to find a different model. Right? Perhaps it is what kind of what Pluvio said, like a coalition or some sort of consortium of different universities that we get together and try to work it out. And I agree, it might be that at this point we don't need them to create, those dream about having a startup and, Steve Jobs and all those things. But more to, I think it was Stephan that said that, more on the lines that being able to resolve themselves, being able to create themselves, being able to not think of themselves only as potential employees and consumers of technology, but as maybe producers of technology in different contexts, right? Doesn't have to be, not all technological development or human development, cultural development, and so on has to be based on business. And maybe I'm thinking of some sort of more post-capitalism kind of idea or something like that, right? But that we can talk about that some other time. But what I mean is that it has failed. It truly has failed. Like examples of this, like Maureen's case, are really, really small and just unique. Right, and there are, and Maureen knows this, there are lots of people with great idea. Lots of people with great idea, but there's simply no way of moving them in somewhere else. And there is another problem. We do have some sort of underdeveloped country syndrome, right? So then, if the government, for example, there was a great entrepreneur that he created its own system for when you take the bus, so you can pay electronically. Why? Because, well, lots of people in some rural areas and in some economically depressed areas don't have credit cards, don't have that kind of thing. So there need to be something more seen as just as money, but so you don't pay with cash the bus. So created the entire system, right? He built it with microcontrollers. He prototyped it. They give him. He got some notoriety. He was on the news. Some sort of venture capital took him and gave him $3,000 and things like that. And at this point, there is electronic payment of buses, but it's handled by a bank and with a technology bought somewhere else. Because at the time when this is implemented at the national level, the government does not have space for startups to participate in these to offer these technologies. So then, I mean, that entrepreneur, that idea is gone. And in the same way, I had my own entrepreneurship. I had I would say the first Central American digital record label. I was selling online music. We're talking about 2011. Spotify didn't exist at that point. So my idea was to sell streaming. My idea was to sell subscription. Was a different. I programmed the entire website on my own. I prototyped a system for buying download cards at that time, similar to what Apple had and so on. I went knocking on big retail companies here so they would allow me to sell this card in their stores, and it was impossible. And I did one method of buying was using SMS messaging. We're talking about pre-WhatsApp and all that stuff. And in Costa Rica, SMS was widely used. So they could pay, they just would send to a number, they would send a band that they wanted to download their music. They would just send the name of the band, and they would get charged through the SMS. In Costa Rica, is the government that at that time it was for that type of payment, it was only the Colby, which was the government cell phone company. And I spent a year in meetings. They wanted to get 70% of what I was charged. I managed to get them to 60% because I wanted to test the idea. I knew some other technology was coming after. And it was, after 1 year, it was impossible to get it done. It was simply impossible to get it done. And that's what we have to deal with. And that's what our students have to deal with. So they get it all excited creating some new stuff, but then the reality is they're going to get a price of $300 or $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, and I mean, in another example, I have so many examples that I was involved with. It was this guy won an award for entrepreneurship. It was $25,000. It was a lot of money. So he was creating a sort of a shoe sole with some accelerometer, gyroscope, so he could measure exactly the way somebody was running, especially for people running, to correct some and to make exercise optimal, especially for athletes and so on and so forth. He won the award. He didn't know how to build the technology at all. So the entire money was wasted creating a U.S. patent. So $15,000 was spent creating and then it was time he had to show the technology. He didn't have one. So guess who they hired? They hired my foundation at that time because they needed and it was a piece of cake. It was something absurd for people that know how to do it, right? We created actually a flexible PCB board with all the sensors. We inserted in a sole. We created the phone application to measure rotations and so on and so forth, and that's it. End of story. Nothing happened with that project. It was shown. A sole was shown. It's all over the news, right? It was the entrepreneur that did it, and he didn't really do it, right? And then that's it. It died, and there's so many stories like that, but like so many stories like that. So we need, sorry for the long answer, or maybe the short one, because I do really talk a lot. So anyway, so then what I mean is we have to create our own model of entrepreneurship. The one that people in Europe, in US, in some other parts of the world are using, fantastic. It doesn't work for us. We need something different. And we have to stop working as me, you, and Marco over there, and Pluvio over there. No, we have to get together and create some sort of Central American entrepreneurship model in order to bypass the government somehow, but get the funding so we can actually push whatever has to do. In that push is not market-based, because in Central America we don't have enough market to do that push. We're not like China, right? In China, I mean, imagine you can right away, or even the US, right? You can right away have a huge market. In Central America, we don't have those big markets to test sort of inside Costa Rica or inside of Honduras or so on. It's a very different socioeconomical situation. And most entrepreneurs are interested, as was mentioned, in own necessities, right? So it's more a necessities-based than a real sort of technology thinking it's going to conquer the entire world or something like that. And so anyway, we have to create our own model of entrepreneurship, whatever that is. I think Mexico has some ideas on how that would work. They have done really good in some, and I know plenty of entrepreneurs that have done well in their projects because Mexico can support them through government, through private, and so on and so forth. Mexico has a big enough market, so they can even try just in the Mexican market is good enough for trying out some of the entrepreneurs. But so we can learn something, especially from Mexico, I would say, and perhaps in Chile, maybe Argentina and other parts also has some good examples. Anyway, we have to create our own model. That's what I think we have to do.
Just a footnote before we go to Olimpia, okay? So maybe a next setting, we should start talking about the Central American model of entrepreneurship. But just one point here, Thomas. You mentioned the fact that startup guy couldn't sell to your government something that but that has to do with government procurement, Somehow our procurement systems, are bent towards large corporations, you see, and that may be a cooperation that some kind of link that you can develop, that awareness to governments that they should allow startups, entrepreneurs to also participate in these biddings. You used the term licitación, so that they can actually participate. But anyway, that's something that is in the agenda. The Central American model of entrepreneurship, I like that idea. So we may have, new sessions to talk about that possibility and maybe write a report or something like that, okay? That sounds like a great idea. What about you, Olimpia? You go ahead.
Thank you, Rene, and I agree as well with that point. So I was just thinking about this question that you did about we need government support. Well, that would be ideal, but we know it's difficult in most of Central America and Mexico and many other countries. So, well, that we should happen someday. But meanwhile, I think that we as educators and we as universities have a very important role to be the link between private organizations, students, researchers, banks, accelerators. And I mean, we usually first, I think we tend to have legitimacy among society because we are educators, we are universities. So we have that legitimacy, and we have like the infrastructure. Some may have more than others, but I mean, it's like we should focus on being this link among all the actors in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I think, meanwhile, while we wait for governments to respond to the societies, we should work on that, being that link and take advantage of that situation that privileged situation we have as educators. And yes, I also think that it's not a matter of creating more startups. I mean, when it's possibility, it's fine. But I agree with that of we as educators should foster more of this entrepreneurial attitude in the students to use everywhere they work or they do something. So that was only my point. Thank you.
That sounds nice.
Rene?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, one thing that is that in terms of building on it is making people more enterprising, that in whatever setting you're in, even if you're in government, that how do you be effective at innovating? On the government side, my country, they are very good at helping and hurting at the same time. So that government money always has strings attached to it, and they don't really understand it in a lot of ways. But the notion of there is a big movement here to increase set-asides to small businesses, but which they have somewhat already, or women-owned businesses and so on. But there's a big push nationally for government set-asides for new businesses. If you're less than a year or 2 years, whatever, and the fact that they're not arguing about doing it, they're arguing over should it be 1 year or 2 years is actually pretty encouraging. But maybe to bring this all back and full circle is that can we figure out ways to have the students? How can the students help reach out? If I testify to the Idaho State Legislature, they know me and they seem to like me. But if 2 or 3 students came up and gave the same testimony, they would listen. Which is like, well, I have a PhD, and yeah, the students are better. They actually are. That it's finding ways for them to reach out, and again, being very locally, because if you're the government, it's a feel-good story that the students are doing all these great things and encouraging. For instance, Pluvio, I'm a huge fan of open innovation, and I can't wait to learn more about that. But again, getting that in engagement at an informal level, that boundary spanning, that stakeholder management at an informal level that the students bring, because it's so authentically motivated. But figuring out how to do that, my one sort of final example is this is what Japan is starting to do. They want to put entrepreneurship education all the way down into primary school. But a lot of it is like, they go, we have no idea how to do this. I'm in rural Japan, or I'm wherever. All they can think is, we can't be like Silicon Valley. Well, don't is they're actually training. They found we're going to send ambassadors out to talk to these schools and help them with this process, and they're finding the kids do a much better job than their elders. That because the students can relate to other students. And as these bridges get built, then you sort of drag the faculty along for the ride. I would love to have further conversations. Is how can we make students our secret weapon for all of us, and certainly for developing the EmpreSomos model of entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much, Norris. This is very kind
I'm just so. On 5 hours sleep, this has been so exciting and so rewarding. I want to thank all of you for sharing.
It was really nice. It was really engaging, and
thank you, Rene, for putting us all together.
No, and you are welcome. And this is a very important topic for the region, and someone mentioned social entrepreneurship and governments. Governments don't have the distributive capacities that some other governments have, okay, in the region. So they have, most of the innovation in terms of social entrepreneurship has to come from, universities and civil society organizations. So this is the issue is very important, both for conventional entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. And of course, Costa Rica has a lot of nice examples about social entrepreneurship that I believe are very good for the rest of the region. I have met a number of social entrepreneurs in Costa Rica, and I am always impressed about their creativity and capabilities, and also their social willingness to help other people. So this is really nice. But anyway, we have to close. We have been talking for 2.5 hours. Okay, so. Just let me say, share, Norris, my appreciation to all of you, okay? And Norris, of course, and to all the panelists, and I just want to say that we also appreciate, the audience attention, and remind them that with the support of experts like we have had today, we will continue to discuss entrepreneurial ecosystems in coming sessions. And that if interested in these topics, we invite all our audience to subscribe to our EmpreSomos YouTube channel. And until next time, take care, build stronger and more inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystems, okay? Thank you so very much.